Call is now being recorded.
All right. Welcome. Talk about life. We are back. We got none other than my main man, Bill Basinger. The man, the myth, the legend. What is up, guy?
What's up, man? I'm excited to chat with you, bro.
Oh, man. For those of you who don't know, which will be just about everybody, Billy and I were coworkers way back in the day, 2015?
Yes, sir.
Back at a CrossFit gym just outside of Boston. And that's when the legacy began, man. It's been a long time, it's been a long journey, and now we're just OGs of the sport, huh?
It might be the longest, or next to you and Bud, it might be like the longest friendship to stay alive out of that Avalon, it's been good, man.
Yeah, and so Billy and I love to talk shop. We love talking CrossFit, and we're excited to potentially open up some eyes to some different perspectives on the sport of CrossFit and training and food supplementation and a couple other things. So without further ado, we don't want to make this too long because I know we can definitely talk for quite a while. Bill, why don't you wanna kick off our first topic and we'll get the ball rolling?
Sure. What was the first drop down from the CrossFit Games?
The CrossFit Games. Okay, so we got our thoughts on the CrossFit Games, changes to the season, specifics, and what local comps would we like to see back in action. Hit me with it.
All right, well, I'm going to say this off the bat that I think the East PC should come back. That's the one competition that I thought was pretty cool on the East Coast there that I think he might want to rethink about bringing back, you know?
Yeah, I went there, 2 years in a row as a spectator, and that was just completely badass. Like, the venue, the athletes, it was completely an awesome thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I wonder if he is thinking, you know, like this would be a good opportunity to bring it back to the East Coast, because I think, you know, the Granite Games have been like somewhere, Minnesota, Wisconsin, somewhere in there, something like that.
Yeah, Minnesota, yeah. Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, what they're thinking of doing with the games is, well, I guess actually now they're not thinking about it, but it's been put into action. There's no longer regionals, so if you've been training for regionals, call it off.
Stop what you do.
Cancel training. Training's closed. They did away with regionals, and now they're going to do the sanctioned events to have your top athletes in the world punch their ticket to the CrossFit Games, and that will be your road to the Games now moving forward. So what Billy and I were thinking about is, you know, what local comps. We both are on the East Coast here, and when Ben Bergeron ran the East Coast Championship, we both think that would be an absolutely dynamite idea in his brain to bring that back. And yeah, so it's weird though. Do you know when's that Dubai one? Did they say?
It's so confusing. I'm totally with you on, like, they need to officially either put out some kind of rule book or write a bigger article, because you can register for that Dubai one now. But I was under the impression that that official season didn't start till next October 2019, not 2 months from now or a month from now, you know? So I don't know. I figured that one would be like, I don't know, like early fall maybe, but it's so confusing now, you know, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, so will there be an open in October of 2018, or is that like something that is legitimate where it's not until next October, or a lot of unanswered
very
questions.
confusing. Yes.
I was thinking today, I bet that this year moving forward, like, you're not going to see a lot of big name guys even sign up for the Open, or if they do sign up, like, not put the same intensity into it, because, I mean, really, what is their incentive to, like for you and I, like, it's still cool.
That's a good point.
Well, right. Like, I mean, for you and I, like, yeah, I'm still going to do the Open, and, I'd love to place high and see where I do, but, like, if you're, a mid-tier or maybe, like, I don't know, someone, I'm not going to name any names, but someone who, like, I don't know, takes 10th at the games every year, like, why would you even worry about doing the Open? Because if you know you're not going to win, it's kind of like, I'd rather put my energy somewhere else, What do you think?
Well, this is where some of those guys would probably move to who knows, like Yemen or like Djibouti or something, and become number one in that country, and then they're going to the CrossFit Games. So I didn't even think about that. That makes perfect sense. Why would you? There'd be no point. You could just do an online qualifier for Granite Games or something and have a better shot there. So. It's a good point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, you only have, I mean, cause like we were saying, like, now you're going to be competing, I mean, I don't know, 8 months out of the year. So it's like, why put 5 weeks of stress on your body for really no return? It's not like you win the Open and go to regionals or whatever, right? You either win or you don't. There's no, at least with qualifiers, you're working to get somewhere. Whereas with the Open this year, but I guess, like, to Greg Glassman's credit, now it kind of gives the Open back to, the CrossFit classes, right? So now the classes have that, it's kind of centered around them again, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, because maybe he or, whoever else is involved was thinking the same thing that you're thinking. Well, if we do this, it'll take, the top, other than the top 5, it'll take, spot 6 through 20 or 50 out. Like, they won't want to compete anymore. And then it'll bring a fresh new group of guys, that are usually in the top 100 or 200. And maybe that'll be incentive for them to put a little bit more time into training, try to, get that top spot. So that's a good point that I didn't really think about till now, And plus the other thing about going the qualifying route with, the Granite Games or Dubai or whatever, is you can pick what day you want to videotape your workout, which the Open you kind of could do, but you really only had, you had Thursday through Monday essentially. So you'd had to do it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, and, you got to recover some point in there. But if, you get 7 days or 10 days or whatever it's going to be, that might be kind of another incentive for some of those top guys to really kind of hone in on, I really want to qualify for for Granite Games, So I'm just going to pick December or whatever the hell it's going to be. Just, hey, I'm going to train super hard to peak in December, qualify, go to the Granite Games, whatever. So it's cool. I think it's great. So.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, change is always going to rattle the cage. No one, really opens change with open arms, especially if the system is running efficiently. I mean, I don't think that there was, at least from a fan perspective, I didn't see anything wrong with the Open into regionals, into the games, but, we'll see. I'm sure everything will shake itself out, and the guys that are, amazing, they'll get back there. I'm sure that there'll be a couple names. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a couple names that get cut, but, it's not like you're going to miss Fraser. He's going to make it. Vellner's going to make it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's even easier on those guys now, because those individuals specifically, because, all he has to do is win his country and he's good. And I think they both have done that the past couple of years. So
And it sounds comical to hear that he only needs to beat everybody in the country and he can make it to the games. Like he's got an easy road. He's only got to beat everybody in the country. But I mean, if someone like Noah Olson says like, okay, well, I'm not going to beat Fraser in the world, so I'm not going to do the Open. Maybe it gets easier for him. I don't know. It's something to that we'll keep our eyes open for. So, but to that point, how about programming, right? So we had said that we wanted to touch upon that, and if CrossFit's been going too far, or if there's kind of a limitation to what they're programming. I mean, my take on it has always been, I mean, CrossFit is a sport, right? I mean, quote unquote, the sport of fitness, right? And basketball is a sport. Football is a sport, right? So if that's the definition, well, football doesn't keep changing, and hockey doesn't keep changing, but I don't know why CrossFit wants to keep changing. Like they want to add the sport of triathlon to the sport of CrossFit, and then they want to add the sport of, cycling, or whatever. So in terms of programming, I think that maybe they are trying to go a little too far, but.
Yeah, I think that what we were talking about segues into programming a little bit, because you're saying there's a definite in season, out of season for the games, athletes, and that is a function of just the changes over the years. I think if you go watch Every Second Counts, that's much different than the documentary they put out last year, and all those road to the games. The training's much different. Somebody somewhere decided, oh, hey, there's a season. Like, I can take a month off or 2 months off and recover and then go start to, really hone in on the training to get past the Open, get to regionals, get to the games. But if we go back to the heart of CrossFit, you're never supposed to know the workout before you get into the gym. If you go back to 2010, that's how it was. You didn't know what the workout was going to be tomorrow. So I think this kind of reflects maybe the kind of the old days. Like, something's got to change, and in my opinion, the programming was getting stale. I mean, this year, you and I have already talked about it. They just hammered them to death. Basically, they didn't. They didn't really do anything overly creative. I mean, there's some cool workouts. That's not what I'm not saying that. The one where they had to carry the guy with the vest on and the whole cargo nets and all that. That's pretty cool, and it's not something that an everyday CrossFitter gets to do. But you just hammered them to death, and so maybe this will be an option for them to kind of open up the programming a little bit. Because who knows down the line, they might change the season. Maybe the games is not in the summer, maybe it's in the winter. So I think that would be interesting, because it'd throw the season. One of the games ended in August, and then they said, oh, by the way, the Open starts in September because the next year games is in December. I mean,
oh Lord,
I know, right? Yeah, that's going to put people through the hoop. I mean, they're not going to know what to expect, and I think it's the heart. That's the heart of CrossFit is it's the unknowable. It's supposed to just be a GPP. I know that the games is much different than your daily CrossFit class, but it's a throwback. And if he wants to include more people, which it sounds like that's his mission, is to include more people instead of having multiple professional athletes, then I think this is probably a way to do that, where the programming, we talked about this a while back, the program is going to have to get a little less intense, in terms of that first day this year. It was just like, okay, we're going to kill them and just see how long their bodies can last.
Right.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
I got a question for you. So would you rather see at the CrossFit Games athletes do basic CrossFit workouts and like be able to destroy them, or would you rather see them do like crazy things? You know, like would you rather so like you mentioned the dummy workout with the cargo net, like would you rather see something like that, or would you see them like destroy Fran? You know, like
yeah, what I would say to that is to make it more relatable to people, you need to kind of find the middle ground. But like if you and I do a workout together, and you kill me, I can take something away and be like, well, John did this differently, and you know, he breathed this way, it looked like, or he was doing this or he was doing that. But some of those guys you see up there and you're like, you have no idea really what they're doing. So it's somewhat unrelatable when you've never done a marathon row. So, and then you see these guys do it and they're holding a 140 pace the entire time, 150 pace. It's unrelatable to the more common CrossFitter, I guess. And, you know, you've been to regionals and everything. So seeing you do some of the stuff that you do, I'm like, I don't know how that kid does it. But then if you and I do a workout together or we come up with something, I can relate a little bit more to you, which makes it more inclusive. So I don't know, you know, you got to find a fine balance, I think, between the both. I mean, it'd be cool though. You know, they did double grace that one year. That was pretty cool. Although who the hell at the time had done double grace? Nobody, but you know, it's cool to see him get creative. I mean, you get creative with your stuff. I get creative with my stuff, but, you know, it'd be cool to see him do Cindy. You know, why not?
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I think sometimes like it would be cool to see them do just like a flat out pure CrossFit workout. You know, when they do Murph, like when we watch them do Murph, like I think that's interesting because you really get to see them like truly hammer a CrossFit workout, whereas sometimes I feel like they just try to put them on display as how good of athletes they are. Like, oh, look at these guys. Like, you know, you obviously know he can do Murph, but like watch him do a marathon row or watch him, you know, watch him go out and swim, you know, whatever, a mile. Like, yeah, that's cool, like you're saying, but it's not relatable. You know, I want to see him, you know, I want to see him sometimes sit, like Cindy's a great example. Like I would love to see a top games athlete like go full tilt on Cindy. Like that would be awesome. Right. And,
I think so.
So, yeah, sometimes I wish that they would kind of scale it back just a little, but, you know, so, but anyways, you know, so now we got CrossFit Games versus CrossFit. You know, we kind of been touching upon this as we've gone along, but, you know, it's two different things. You know, it needs to be, not stated to people, but I just think that people in CrossFit gyms should have the comprehension of being like, okay, what I'm doing is technically what they're doing, but I don't need to compare myself to them, like, cause it's, you know, apples to orange. Well, not even apples to orange. You know, it's apples to steak. It's like two different foods, like not even in the same category. You know, and that apple is just looking to fall from the tree and be consumed, where the steak is trying to be like cut with like a steak knife and slathered in A1 steak sauce, like be real polished. I don't know where I'm going with that, but that's my take on the games versus CrossFit.
I think that I mean, you get somebody that's new and they start, you know, if they've never done anything and they're kind of deconditioned, you know, they'll start hitting some PRs like once a month, and then, you know, they'll start watching the CrossFit Open, and then, you know, they'll go with a bunch of people to regionals, and then they'll see the games, and then all of a sudden the next year, instead of doing one workout, you know, they'll want to do 7 in one day. It's like, you know, you don't need to do that. And you kind of touched upon it in that podcast about we were talking about the guy that's doing the Power Clean Complex and or the Clean Complex, and it's like one workout a day, you'll be fine. You just got to get through it. You're doing great. You're learning something new. It's not easy. None of that stuff is easy to learn if you've never done it.
Right.
So it's like, that would be, I mean, my only thing is I hope the public understands that there's a huge difference between, the CrossFit Games and what your CrossFit gym looks like. When I got my level 2, that was a huge thing. Is just they hit home like one workout a day. That's all you need. You'll be the fittest person in that grocery store when you go to the grocery tomorrow or wherever. And
right.
You can get super fit from one workout. You don't need to be doing what they. And I think a million people have said that now, but for some reason it doesn't stick. So.
That's the thing that I always get really tied up on, is that those people that they compare them, they're in their first month of CrossFit and they compare their movement, their weight, their everything to the guys that they see on TV, and it's like, dude, you're in here a month, right? And you're making great strides, and like you're saying, you're probably the fittest person. If you're walking down the supermarket, fittest person in there, right? Like, you cannot take yourself in comparison with any guy in the CrossFit Games and be like, boy, I'm not making progress, or boy, I got to step it up. It's like, dude, no, like you're amazing as is. Like, you're doing just for stepping in the gym, like, you're amazing,
Yes.
So that's, yeah. But, they can't really, like, you're not going to see just a CrossFit class on TV. Like, okay, let's put on the CrossFit class. We'll put that on TV.
We're at CrossFit New England today, and they're doing France.
The 5:30 class. Hey, how you doing, Dad? Like, what's up? Maybe that's a good idea, though, right? Maybe.
Why not?
A local CrossFit gym, and they just did like a 5:30 class. They just CBS filmed it, and they did that. Like, hey, maybe that would be more marketable than seeing.
John,
Matt
you're
Fraser.
coming up with all these killer ideas right now, and that one wouldn't be half bad. I think for somebody that's on the edge of going to their CrossFit gym,
right? Yeah,
be pretty cool.
Step in, get their first taste of it. They see on TV that it's mothers, fathers, students, whatever, right? Just doing banded pull-ups or whatever, scaling weight, and I could do that, right? So
yeah,
I mean, that. Now we just got to get Glassman to film it, put that on TV.
I think, yeah, and like the last take it home point kind of CrossFit versus CrossFit Games, I'll say, is as soon as you decide, and you decided at one point, and so did I, although at this point I'm kind of trying to bring it back to like, how can you get super fit in one workout? But like, as soon as you decide that you need 2 or 3 parts of a workout, like, that's your choice. So if you're going to, like, what I'm trying to say is, if you want to be a competitor in the CrossFit Games, you're signing your name on that line, and you're making the choice to be a competitor at the CrossFit Games, and whatever they want to do, they get to do. They're a business at the end of the day that are trying to bring more people in the community. So I saw a lot of backlash about the changes. So it's like, hey, if you're not doing a CrossFit class and you're going to do 2 or 3 parts of your workout, and you want to be a competitor, that's part of the competitor. And I think you specifically are somebody that, like, your training isn't so fragile that you didn't build adversity into it. So like, if somebody told you, hey John, the open starts in a month, you're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't. I was recovering this entire month. No, you're going to be like, no, okay, all right, $20 and I'm in, So, to bring that home, it's like CrossFit class, one workout a day. I think as soon as you decide that you need more to be a competitor, that's your choice, and whatever comes with it, whether that be the CrossFit Games changing their season or how you get to the games, that's on you. So I wouldn't whine too much to them because they don't care anyway, you know.
Right, yeah.
They're not checking all their comments, you know.
No, and literally, like, you know, you'll see comments a mile long. Oh, don't worry, they're gonna read that one. Don't worry. I'm glad you spent that 30 minutes, you know, trolling this .com that's never gonna even take a glance at it. So, but all right. Well, to that end, yeah. So we're gonna transition here. We'll move into training, and we were just kind of touching upon that. So, you know, templates and things of that nature. So, yeah, you just put a good spin on it. You know, if you're someone, in my opinion, and I know you feel the same, like, if you're just trying to general fitness, if you just want to be able to breathe and sweat, and, you know, climb stairs and ride a bike, one CrossFit class a day, you know, maybe 3 times a week, and you know, like, do class, you know, like, specifically, like, have fun, be in a community, have, you know, build friendships, great, perfect, like, you know, enjoy every moment of it. And like kind of flipping the switch if you want to be, I mean, even if you want to be just not like well, there's no longer regionals, but a former regional athlete or a competitor, you know, maybe you can still do the class and then maybe do like one add-on piece or something, nothing too out of the ordinary, but I think that's perfect. I mean, because again, if you want to go to the CrossFit Games, it's weird now for me even to say this because like, because before it was like you could still train to go to regionals and you didn't necessarily have to go full tilt to get to, like, now there's no in between, you know. It's almost like, cause even if you, so my words are jumbling here, but like, if you want to compete in like a local competition, well, you could still do class every day and probably win it, right? But like, now if you want to train more, so it's really just on you. Like there's no guarantee that you'll make it to Wadapalooza or Granite Games. I mean, before you kind of had a pretty good shot with the Open just because maybe you knew your region, you knew who was there, you know, you trained with some of the people that are in that region. Yeah, I'm kind of going off here. I'm kind of.
Well, I think somebody like you though, like, you know, instead of trying to, you know, I'm not saying the average CrossFitter because you're not the average CrossFitter, but somebody like you, I think, would do probably better in this format because, like we said earlier, you know, you're potentially eliminating the top 10 from, well, now your country or whatever it was, the region, and that leaves somebody like you you've been to regionals before twice, and you are in that top group, you know, that top, what do you want to say, 5 or probably less, probably like you're in the top 1 to 2% of competitors in the Open, but now you're going to be competing, you know, if you pick, let's say Wadapalooza, that's the first sanctioned like event that John C. wants to go to. Well, you know, like you said earlier, the top level guys might decide to do that one, and they might say, you know what, my body's, you know, tweaked a little bit right now, so I'm going to hold off to the next one. And so I think it's somewhat leveling the playing field, not as much as I think maybe Glassman wants, but we still don't know enough to really kind of come to a conclusion. But I get what you're saying. But, you know, you've already, you know, bringing you in as an example, you've experienced regionals, you know who was competing there. Now you don't. So you just have to trust in your programming and that you know, your competitive nature will still be there, which I'm sure it will. And I think you'll be fine. I think people like you will be fine. You know, you'll pick 1 or 2 sanctioned events, maybe, if that's what you want to do. And you'll cry, you know, we don't know how long you have to do those qualifiers. So if you have 7 days, I mean, you could either take the entire 6 days to get well rested and crush day 7 and get there, or you could do it a couple times. And so we'll see. I think somebody like you will be fine.
For anybody out there that doesn't know me, Billy's really buttering me up. I'm not the amazing athlete that he paints. Like, if you're visualizing me right now, you probably see like Hercules, like with like 400 pounds and a snatch grip over his head.
Visualize the smallest guy in the gym that looks so out of shape and.
I get by, but I don't think I'm as great as Billy makes me sound. But that, we're not here to discuss that. So,
right.
But let me ask. All right. So templates. So like, how do you? Because you like to write your own programming. How do you like programming for a week? And what's if anybody out there is working out in a garage gym and they want to kind of do their own thing, what's like the best piece of advice you could give on that?
All right, so you gotta. I think if you go back to the classic 3 on 1 off, I think that's great. I think the idea there is that those 3 days you can keep that intensity pretty high, and intensity equals result. So I think that's probably the first kind of overall kind of template. You'll probably sneak in 1 to 2 rest days a week in there, and those can be rest days where you're literally not doing anything, or maybe you're going to play hockey, pickup game, or you're going swimming if you want to do some active recovery. But that's where I started when I started programming for myself and Steph. And then the other thing that it is, I just went through the archives of CrossFit workouts on main site, and I would just copy and paste them into a Word document. That way you're not programming to your advantage. You're not, I'm not great at snatch balances and, overhead squats sometimes. It's not that I'm bad at it. I just don't program because they're not that fun, I guess. So I think you could do that. You could start off, 3 on, 1 off, and then just go to CrossFit.com. And that's what I've been doing, man. I'll throw one main site workout from 4 or 5 years ago into the programming just to get a little bit of variance. And, that's that kind of adversity quality that most CrossFit Games athletes, I would say, seek, and your CrossFit class, like something that you aren't prepared for, something that you didn't program, where it might be just a run and box jumps. I saw they had that the other day, and I'm like, well, who would ever think to do that, because your legs are going to get burnt out, and then you got to jump, and then you got to go run again. And so that's kind of where I kind of started. That was my inspiration. But I know yours is slightly different, and I've taken a lot from you, so I think you can speak pretty good on that one.
Well, I'll expect the checks in the mail if that's the case, because I don't just give stuff out for free, but no, I agree. I think, if you're programming for yourself and you just want to be fit, I mean, first off, just doing anything, it's going to be great. Like, I want people to get to the point where, like, they're congratulating themselves just for starting, because fitness is so funny. So many people want to get fit, but just never take that step. Never even step foot in the gym, right? So just the fact that you want to get into some form of fitness, CrossFit, yoga, cycling, whatever it is, right? That's an incredible first step, and I applaud you for that. But yeah, so templates. I mean, doing anything, following the main .com is going to be great, because you're going to kind of get a taste of so many different movements. They do the videos as well on there that if you ever have questions or movement standard, you can see James Hobart or Julie Fouché do it, which is awesome. And then once you kind of get, because if you program, I mean, so like when I started doing CrossFit, the gym I went to, like, I swear, we only did like box jumps and pull-ups. You know, that was the only movements that our owner knew. So like we would do box jumps, pull-ups, and deadlifts like every day. So if you do go to .com, you're gonna kind of touch every movement over the course of a month or 2 months or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But it's you know, great. It's excellent because then you've got a comprehension of all the movements, and then you kind of see, you know, what you're good at, what you're bad at, and it's just going to give you a great foundation. I'm kind of at a point right now where I like to just kind of throw basically every day like something I'm just not good at. Like I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun with training now, and you know, I've had years of being coached and being, you know, force-fed workouts, and just sometimes you get tired of that. So now, like, I'm always trying to do things under fatigue, whether it's like, you know, 50 double unders, 25 wall balls, and then 3 cleans. Like, but the focus is the cleans. Like, I'm instead of, you know, because I'm not great at heavy barbell work under fatigue. So, like, that would be a workout for me. And like, I've sent a few of the stuff to you, you know, like tons of toe to bar before doing a snatch, right? Not that that's something you should start out doing, but it kind of, as you get yourself acclimated to more and more CrossFit movements, you can kind of pick and choose. So, but rest days, yeah, we got this, down on the docket here. So it's funny.
Yeah, what do you do on your rest day, even though I don't know when they are?
Well, you know what? Rest days, man. This is a topic that I could just wrap my brain around for an hour or two. It's funny because there are weeks, and I'm sure you've had these same weeks where like everything's on. You know, like you feel amazing. You just feel like you're taking a big old bite out of programming and it just tastes delicious, right? And when you get into those zones, you're like, dude, I can't rest right now. Like, I feel amazing, right? So case in point, right? And I don't even think you know about this. This Tuesday, I hit a snatch PR.
Yeah, buddy.
You hear? Yeah. So I went from 262 to 265, and so I was, you know, amped. I'm like, oh my gosh, like things are clicking. I feel amazing, right? So I trained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I did like because, you know, Thursday should technically be a rest day for me, but I went in and I did like accessory stuff, maybe a little bit more than I should have. Yesterday I went in and I still hit it again. By today, man, I feel like garbage, right? And it's like you can't fall victim to being like, great, I feel amazing, so I'm just going to keep on training until the wheels fall off. So that's not good, man. You need to plan rest days. Like, no matter, like, everybody, like, nobody just trains until they're in a coffin. Like, you need to program rest days.
No, yeah, I think, you know, it depends on how you feel. You know, just take a day off and go, I don't know, finish the book that you've been trying to finish for months, or, you know, go watch the movie or, you know, a show on Netflix or whatever. Or, you know, I know you like to get on the bike sometimes, and so do I. So some Thursdays I'll just hop on the assault bike and just do 25 easy pace. And man, it's incredible what moving some blood for Friday, you know, does for you. So yeah, that's funny though that you hammered yourself and now you feel like trash. That's awesome.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, well, so the thing is, this is just a side note, but yeah, so on Saturdays, the only class that operates at our gym is at 7 a.m. So I got up and I went to the gym, and dude, it was like I wasn't even there. Like, I mean, I was there for an hour, but I did not do like anything, and I'm not saying it's a waste, but like, you know, your time is valuable too, and I still got up and I got dressed and I went down there, I won't get that hour back, but one point too I want to make, and this is a little bit different. This is more psychological, but people. It's funny because I think the beauty of CrossFit is that it is very goal oriented. So I'm at a 150 pound snatch, and I know if I keep working on it, I can hit a 155. So I'm going to keep training and training and training and training and training so I can hit that 155 snatch. Which is great, right? You're determined to achieve what you're looking to achieve. But with rest days, you need to remember that you do have other things in your life that you valued greatly before you started CrossFit. Like I think it's unfortunate when you see people get so wrapped up in the sport, no matter what level they're at, that they completely shun, I loved photography, but now I do CrossFit, so my rest days are going to be more CrossFit, right? Go out.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? People get so into that. And again, it is goal oriented, so it technically, it's a good characteristic to have, but you don't want to forget about those other things that you had in your life before CrossFit. The prehistoric times before CrossFit.
Yeah, I think it's one thing. It's so fun that it's so easy to get lost in it, and now you want to watch all the videos, the how-tos, and you want to shop for, some cool shoes to wear for your next workout and, be a part of the community. It's so easy to get caught up in and forget some of those other things that you do just because it is so fun. It's a blast walking into a gym and you're all friendly with everybody and, you picked out the 2 or 3 guys that you're buddies with that you just want to beat into submission in the workout and then, laugh about it at the end and go to work and do it all over again tomorrow. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Is don't forget about, that's why the one workout a day, hour, 3 days on, 1 day off is great because you only have an hour. It's your 1 hour to do a good workout, get it done, and then move on to the next thing, whatever that is, if it's work or school or whatever, So that's a good point.
Yeah, I just like to put an end to it because I don't want to beat it into the ground. But it is something that bugs me a lot because, like CrossFit is no different than your job, right? You go there every day and you work towards an end goal, whether you're in sales and you're trying to, close deals, or whether you're, a car manufacturer and you're trying to, build the next, muscle car. It's like, yeah, I think you just don't get the same like dopamine release as you do when you're CrossFitting and you're able to finally catch that 200-pound clean or whatever. So, to that end, just don't forget about the other amazing things you have going on in your life because of CrossFit. But, all right, let's talk about food, the fun stuff, right? How's
that sounds all right. Let's do it.
That sounds just so tasty. I just love talking about food. So, all right. So what do we got? All right. So obviously talking about chicken and broccoli isn't fun. So, but we're going to discuss deviations, meals that we like to go to, whether a cheat day is still relevant or whether it's a cheat meal or, the how-tos or whatever. So what's your take on the food, Bill, and what are your falling off the rail days look like?
Dude, I fell off the rail yesterday, and I'll talk about that in a second. But that one podcast with Rob Wolf and Andy Stump, that Cleared Hot podcast, where they talks about the keto diet that I sent you a while back. I think his name is Rob Wolf. He's like he owned the first and third affiliate ever, but he said you should call your cheat days deviation days or a deviation meal Yeah, I know. It sounds ridiculous because we're all like, dude, we do cheat days, get on board, Rob, or move on. But because he was like, the definition of cheat is to gain an advantage on like a competitor. And I think that's a good point, because when you're doing a cheat day in the definition that you and I kind of use, is we are not getting any kind of advantage by eating the way that we do, when we used to go to Union Square and pound the donuts. You're not gaining any advantage. You're probably taking some years off your life, to be honest.
God darn it.
But, oh man, yesterday my company had Chick-fil-A catered, and I forgot. So I had my lunch, my salad, my greens, and my chicken and my rice. And they had a ton of chicken strips and nuggets left over. And man, I went into that conference room and, I put like 10 of each on my plate, and then I was like, you know what, a couple for the road can't hurt. So I threw 2 in my mouth and walked back to my desk. And I ate it so fast that I don't eat like that. I think you and I both have kind of stepped away from the cheat/deviation days. But man, it got hard to swallow. I was eating it so fast because it was so good. But I don't go too crazy anymore. I'll pick one meal a week or, a couple of times a week and get after it. But, that could be like 2 burritos and I'm good, or a burrito and a half or something and I'm good. But that's kind of where I'm at, 'cause I feel so bad now. You feel so bloated and just dead to the world when you go hog wild like I did yesterday.
And that doesn't even sound that bad. Like, it doesn't sound like you went too crazy, to say that you had some like chicken nuggets and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be throwing you in jail because of those, but
right.
It's yeah. I mean, that deviation meal. It's funny because it does put a little like different swing to it. Whereas, yeah, you're not cheating to get ahead. Like, you're literally like destroying your competitors are like praising you because you're cheating, having cheat meals. But I used to love cheat. When I started at Avalon, right, I think I did a cheat day. I'm pretty sure. And those days were just sloppy. Like, I would just go ham, whether it was, I'd have like a just complete IHOP for breakfast, and then, feel like shit during the lunch hour, and then at dinner, like, just go all in on pizza. Like, it just like, I mean, you remember the day I came into the gym and
oh my God,
after vacation,
to give everybody a picture, John left the gym at 180 pounds. He's about 5'8", right? You're about my height.
Yeah.
He goes on vacation for a week. I think you texted me and told me what you were eating. Like, I think you had like 2 days in a row of pizzas or something. I don't know, something like that. And I come into work. I think it was like a Tuesday. I came into the gym. And I asked another coach, Coach T, I was like, hey, Taylor, who's the new guy? And I'm not kidding. I didn't know. I really wasn't trying to be funny. And Taylor kind of got these big, wide eyes, and he's like, what are you talking about? Because sales was big, so we were trying to I want to know who this is so I can go introduce myself and get to know him. And it was literally John, just 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah, a lot of water, a lot of water and salt and sodium and just a whole bunch of mess. So back in those days, it's crazy because like relationship with food is huge, and I think that if you do a cheat day, it's like you just put so much like thought and pressure about that one day that as soon as it comes, you're just gonna like dive head first, and it's not healthy.
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. 'Cause you're looking. What's sad is you start to look forward to it, and then not only have you put, to use your example, photography aside to do CrossFit. Now you're kind of putting CrossFit aside to eat. And so it's like if you could dial in your diet during the week. And, I've got some tricks up my sleeve on how to like cure, some of those, like I have to have this or that. I've got some checks and balances in place now for myself. If you just do that, yeah, your relationship with food might not be so crazy. I mean, we used to indulge a little bit, to say the least.
Yeah, what I try to do, because obviously we can, we're not just here to talk about how awesome our cheat days were, but what I try to do if we're trying to give some content that can help people is,
we could do it. We could do it.
I'm very basic. I'm a basic bitch, and I basically eat I have a rice cooker, so I'll throw 20 servings of rice in a rice cooker, and I'll have a scoop of that at every meal, and some spinach or whatever, and chicken. It's almost always chicken, which is the worst. But it's so cheap, it's so easy to buy that when I do change the protein, it's almost like it's like a blessing. Like I'm so excited to eat the meals again.
Yeah.
When I finally switch from chicken to ground beef, I'm like, oh my gosh, this tastes so good. Man, I'm glad. It's not that it's like great content and something that somebody else should do, but if you beat a protein into the ground and then you change it, you'll feel amazing, and you will have been eating clean the whole time. So
yes.
that's my strategy.
I think it's okay, John, to throw some steak or something in there every once in a while, dude.
I know. I'm so frugal though. I can't when I see that chicken breasts are like $1.99 a pound, I'm like, I'll buy 2 family packs. I'm like, I have to, And then I get to the end of those 2 family packs and I'm ready to gag because I've eaten so much chicken that then I'll buy 5 packs of 80-20 ground beef, and it will be like I'm eating ice cream because I'm so happy,
I saw that the other day that you snapped that, and I was so happy. I was like, finally the kid's not eating chicken. Thank God.
Oh gosh, yeah, chicken is just the worst. But so what do you got for alleviation of cheating and trying to be good?
All right, I'm very much like you. I have a salad every day that's got usually spinach, some kind of dark green, lettuce, cucumber, pepper, and then I'll do probably rice, maybe some ground beef or sweet potato and ground beef. But I think what helps me, cause I don't need to have a deviation meal or a cheat day, although I will do it, sometimes just cause it's faster, if you're being busy in the weekend. But man, little things like Zevia, you probably had it, that helps my craving so much because it tastes so good and it's 1,000 times sweeter than sugar. So it fixes that craving. And then, one thing that recently, I can't remember what podcast I heard on, but that, I don't know if you've heard of it, Lily's chocolate. They're like chocolate bars, made from cocoa or something like that. I can't remember how to say it. And they don't have sugar in it. It's like erythritol or something like that. And man, if you have a chocolate craving, I think they've got tons of varieties, but they've got a milk chocolate one that has 1 gram of sugar, I think, in the entire bar. They're a little expensive, but man, it's like those Halo Top ice creams. It's like you're indulging, but you're not gonna wreck your insulin and crush your body and then fall asleep when you're done, So
right.
That's kind of what I do.
Yeah, even Quest bars. If you throw a Quest bar in the microwave for 10 seconds and it gets nice and gooey, that's not bad. I like doing that. And like you said, Halo Top, or whatever those other, they're all like the same. Some of them taste a little bit better, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean stuff like that, because it's just like, you know, you just gotta think like, not is it really worth it, but like, you know, you just have to have a healthy relationship with food. You just have to kind of be like, you know, I'm gonna feel like crap after this. Like, do I really want to go and have that 8th slice of pizza? Like, I think and in some cases, I mean, yeah, in some cases, do it. You know, like, because if you can consistently, you know, restrain yourself from doing it, you're gonna just mentally, I mean, mentally you're going to be destroyed. So yeah, sometimes you can go ahead and just jump right in and enjoy. But yeah, I think if you seek out some of those little like scapegoats that you can find, and there's plenty out there, you'll just be so much happier, you know. Because then you do the mirror test. You do the mirror test the next day, and you still look okay in the mirror, and you're like, all right, great, man. I'm all fired up. I'm glad I didn't pound that pie again.
Rather than the, like, when you do 12 donuts, you know, and then you put the towel over the mirror so you don't see yourself for a couple of days. Let's get away from that and go to just like, I'll just have a Halo top or something. Yeah.
I might actually do that tonight now. Because I got to do my food shopping here, and I'm thinking about that as we're talking. But you know what I have been eating actually too lately, and this is you might turn your nose to it, but calf liver.
What?
Yeah, you know, like I was at the grocery store and I saw calf liver, and it's dirt cheap, and I've seen so many articles about how beneficial it is for you. Like, you know, eating any of those like animal organs, it does like tremendous stuff to your body, and just stuff to your body. Not even legitimate stuff. It just does stuff to your body.
What?
The studies are out there that say it just does great stuff, and it's up to you to figure it out. But yeah, so I've been buying it, and I slow cook it overnight, and then the next day I'll like really mash it, and I'll put it in with chicken and rice or ground beef and rice, and I barely taste it, but I mean, whatever stuff is happening, I'm sure it's really good. So
you feel really awesome though, right?
I feel like my calves are getting bigger because I'm eating calf liver.
Oh, that's why I say, hey, if you want bigger triceps, you got to eat tri-tip steaks.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense. If you want chicken wings, go and eat chicken wings, right? Chicken breasts give you bigger pecs, right?
Yeah, duh.
It's science.
Stuff.
All right, well, we're coming up on an hour here, so why don't we'll do one more, and then we'll cap it there. So let's talk about we'll just totally switch speeds here. Favorite book and why, and then we'll call it.
All right. Favorite book that I read this year over Christmas. I think I took like 2 weeks off and read it, but it's called The Last Highlander or The Forgotten Highlander. I can't remember now. It's upstairs. I think it's The Last Highlander, but it's about this POW, and man, it's intense. I think it's out of print. It's POW in World War II. And man, it's this guy's, he wrote about his journey through the war, and man, you read some of the conditions that they had to live through and they had to go through so people in their country, could, survive the war and not be taken over by the Japanese and the Nazis and all that. Holy crap. I highly recommend it. It's good. It'll make you feel like you're lazy and you'll want to go do something to prove that you're not. 'Cause some of those dudes are just, I think when he passed away, he was like 89 or something. And it was just I think it was in 2012, 2010, something like that. I can't remember, but he's a hard ass guy that survived, months and months of, they had to build this bridge, and he's got nothing but a loincloth, and he's got maggots in his toes, and dude, it's intense. And that's the book that out of this year that I'd say is that's one of my favorite books. I was thinking about reading it every Christmas break just to remind myself, like, hey, we have it easy because this guy almost died battling the Japanese in World War II. So that's kind of sad, but it's also kind of just like humans are tough and they can handle a lot. And I recommend it. If you can find it, it's worth it. If you want to read it, I can send you my copy, but I think Steph said it's out of print, so I don't know how she found it, but what about you? What's your book?
First off, I think that's extremely true, that, you hear the saying all the time that your brain will quit long before your body does. And you've done training like that, where treading water and things of that nature, where your body is literally an autopilot, yet your mind is like, stop. But it is. It's fascinating. It's just, can you psychologically get yourself to just keep going, and you read books like that, and you see that the capabilities that were really, really available to us, we just gotta like dig into our brain and make it happen. It's really fascinating. So yeah, the book, the first one that comes to mind for me, this was like the first like positive book that I read. Like, I wouldn't say it's like self-help, but it's all about like having a good state of mind. It's The Wisdom of Andrew Carnegie as Told to Napoleon Hill. So have you heard of Andrew Carnegie?
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was in the steel industry. He was a big baller in that time frame back then, and it's the biggest. I mean, it's funny because like motivational books, it's always very basic concepts. It's nothing that you're like, holy cow, like I never thought of it like that. Like they express taking action.
Yep.
Well, yeah, like, that is correct. We need to take action. And he talks about having like a definite major purpose in life. So many people, they just kind of go through life. They don't ever have like a direction they want to go in or something that they're chasing after. And it's like, how do you expect to be great or want more out of life if you don't even know what you want out of life? And, not that I really liked reading it. I liked putting it all into anything that really stood out to me, I wrote down, and I try to review it often. But it's simple concepts, but it makes total sense. I mean, taking action, having a definite major purpose, creating a plan as to how you're going to get there. Like, that's simple things, but it's things that we don't often do, and I really liked reading that and getting it programmed into my brain. So hopefully I'm destined for big things now. So.
Oh, you are, dude. Yeah, both books sound like they're good, like just in the world of complexity that we live in, both of those books, because they're written by gentlemen that lived decades and decades ago, where times are much simpler, so their concepts are simple, don't give up, make a plan, and just don't quit. Just don't quit.
Yeah.
And you'll get, all your goals will come true at some point, Just got to keep
execute, going. And it's not even about, like everyone's going to fail. Like everyone will have a point where they get stuck or where there's a bump in the road. But it's like, if you don't, as bad as it sounds, if you don't die, like it's not a failure. Like you literally get back up and you go again. If we can revert back to CrossFit, right? Like if you wanted to do Fran in under 3 minutes and you do it in 3:05, right? Like, well, that's okay. You can do it again.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean you failed. It just means you temporarily not succeeded, right? And you can get out of that state very easily. Just keep on trying. So I like it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, this has been a lot of fun. It's we're a little bit past the hour here, so we'll conclude this episode. Bill, you're a monster, and I know that everyone that listens to you has increased their IQ by 10 points just by the intelligence that you bestow upon us. And I thank you so much for giving us that knowledge that you just gave us.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me. We'll have to do it again sometime. We'll pick some new topics and get after those.
Yeah, because I know we can get real deep into things, like way too deep. So we can definitely pick some more stuff and then just deep dive into it. So, all right, my man. Well, you have yourself a great night. Taco about life. I hope you enjoyed this. Tacoing to Billy, and we will talk to you soon. So, farewell. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Stay fit.
See you, buddy.